Alright, let's go, because you know what I came in to do.
I don't get paid for overtime. I'm here to fight.
Pick up Calix Boxing. Yeah, like, recently, Lord Lucan advised Rolly to not take the Ryan Garcia fight and go fight Pitbull Cruz for less money. Go from taking a main event fight and fight on the undercard of Thurman and Tim Tszyu, who are fighting at a catchweight for no title. Rolly tried to make the argument that he's taking a tougher fight in Pitbull Cruz over Ryan Garcia. And you know something? He could be right. But he said he wants the critics and the fans to realize that he picked a tougher fight for less money. I decided to take a more difficult fight than Ryan Garcia for less money, but people want to effing bash me for taking a more difficult fight. No, people are bashing you because they've never heard of Pitbull Cruz. You know, okay, tougher fight, perhaps, but it's not like Rolly is Canelo with a pro-Benavidez demographic calling for his head if he doesn't fight Benavidez. No one was asking for that fight. It's a fight you could have not taken and nobody would have said anything. And instead, you've took less money. And you know what's scary? He said he's betting on himself. Who said that 4 years ago when they turned down the DAZN deal? Won a couple of fights when he went back to Showtime and then got destroyed by Tyson Fury. And guess where Deontay Wilder is now? He's on DAZN. I tell you what, the signs look ominous for Rolly. They look ominous. It would be no surprise to any of you listening here if history repeated itself. Matchroom lose yet another purse bid. Ray Ford is challenging for the WBA featherweight title, is vacant against OBATEK KHOLMATOV, 12-0, 11 inside the distance. Ray Ford is 14-0-1 with 7 inside the distance. Now, I don't believe Matchroom have belief that Raymond Ford is going to win. They're hoping he will and come back a champion. And let's say I'm right. Okay, they don't have that belief to back Ray with a bigger purse bid. Well, what happened to Eduardo Nunes the other day? 27-1, 27 inside the distance. He stopped Saktov Rakimov in 11 in Russia. Some unknown Russian outlet won the purse bid. Why didn't they back him? That was actually a really good fight. An eliminator for Joe Cordina's 130-pound IBF strap. A lot of people have got KHOLMATOV beating Ray Ford. Ray Ford, I believe, will take the role of the boxer. KHOLMATOV is going to try and bully him, bustle him out of his stride, and take him apart. I think it'll be a good fight. I understand why KHOLMATOV is the favourite. I won't go against that necessarily, but I think it's going to be a good fight. Let's see if Ray can spring the upset. If he wins, he needs to phone up Eddie and say, yo, why didn't you back me? You know what I mean? I want to be of a higher priority now. I got the strap. And put a little more in the next paycheck.
And on April 20th, it won't be no different. When it gets hot,
you
quit.
You hugged the whole round. There was a whole round you were just holding. That's crazy.
Listen, have I ever quit like you did? Okay.
I'm not even going to make him quit. I'm just going to knock him the fuck out.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Hey, you got to put them hours in the gym. Your mind's got to be right. Diet, discipline. But I'll be fooling myself not to revisit that part of the press conference. Devin made a point to turn around in his seat and look directly in Ryan's eyes. Ryan just wanted the moment to pass. No eye contact because a nerve was hit. A nerve was hit right there. Is this who Ryan Garcia is? Or is he going to do what Daniel Dubois did against Jerome Miller? And at least for now, have a sense of redemption after he QUIT'd against Joe Joyce. My gut instinct is telling me Ryan ain't about that life. But it is possible he can put together one great night and do what's required. But Ryan Garcia, a long reigning champion, taking on all comers, I'm not hating at all. I just don't feel that will manifest. I just don't feel it will manifest for Ryan Garcia. I don't believe he believes it. And that's where I take my cue. He made a fortune. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But I always have that feeling he's just waiting for the right time to exit ASAP with a whole load of cash. And like I say, nothing wrong with that at all. Too many fighters have exited their careers and not had the financial rewards to show for it. Without being arrogant, the W for Devin is obviously my pick by what I'm saying. The bigger question though is, can Devin get that stoppage? Can he stop Ryan? I'm not sure. I think he has the tools, he's capable, but is that killer instinct there? As talented as Devin is that killer instinct there? In theory, Oscar De La Hoya would be a good promoter for Terence Crawford. You know, he's not as old as Bob Arum. DAZN would just be an excellent platform for Terence Crawford. Tap into that Latin audience, Mexican audience, and the worldwide audience. Oscar's made his pitch on Twitter. He told Terence Crawford to hit him up. Now, will Crawford respond? I don't think the back and forth they had last year was too toxic to stop dialogue going on between the two. Terence Crawford said we, the fighters, should be at the table in negotiation when everything's being discussed. Oscar disagreed and said fighters need good management, basically saying that fighters have got no place at the table. They don't know what they're doing. Crawford fired back. He negotiated his BLK Prime deal. He negotiated his deal with Al Haymon. I'm sure with assistance to go over some of the stuff that he wouldn't have been qualified to discuss or talk about. But I bet Oscar's regretting them rebuttals right now. Oscar always putting his foot in it. Now, he didn't really say anything that bad. We'll see if Terence responds positively. From Leamington Spa, same city or town as Randolph Turpin, is Matty Harris, 5-1-0, 4 inside the distance. Last July, the journeyman Dobyevchenko from Ukraine upset the apple cart. He's back this Friday on Channel 5 with Peter Fury in his corner, which I think is a good fit for Matty's style. He's buoyed on by encouraging words from Anthony Joshua, and in his words, and he's correct, if Anthony Joshua thought he was just some also-ran, he wouldn't have gave him them words of encouragement. And it's important that the guys who have been to the top of the mountain give words of encouragement to the up-and-coming. It's important to let these youngsters know you can lose and you can come back. But don't make a habit of it, Matty. Don't make a habit of it. His German opponent, whose name I'm not gonna I'm not gonna tackle it right now. His German opponent is 8 wins, 10 losses, no stoppage wins. So it would be safe to assume he's a safe touch. And that's fair enough coming back from Matty's last performance. Looking forward to seeing Matty back in there with Peter Fury. On a big October Red, I remember her interviewing Peter Fury. They're not going to be putting in Matty in with anything too stiff until Peter sees the poise, the confidence and the growth necessary to start moving up the ladder. And the issue Matty has, being a prospect in this era, is all his fights are televised. If they're not televised, you know, like somebody will have something on YouTube, and he is a discussion point right now. And he's only had 6 fights. If this was the 90s, a kid from Leamington Spa with 6 fights would just continue learning his trade. And the only people who would really see his progress if they didn't go to his shows is people like me who buy the boxing news. So he wouldn't have that pressure, you know, social media all on it. Because you know what I noticed, right, with Matty's last fight, the loss? Pre-fight, nobody in mass numbers was talking about Matty Harris. Matty Harris is fighting Dobyevchenko, the Ukrainian journeyman. But when he lost, prospect Matty Harris got turned over. It was probably on the periphery of trending. So the pressure isn't going anywhere. And Matty needs to know that, yeah, because he's going to bang this guy over. He's going to bang a few more people over. And then the pressure for Matty to step up and fight Jamie TKV and get in the mix with the other domestic heavyweights. Fight Solomon Dakers, fight David Adelaide, fight Webster from the Northeast, the winner of Babbage and Drago. Do all that. And that's when you need a no-nonsense Peter Fury, because he's not going to have it. He's going to tell Matty, I don't give a shit what they're saying. Yeah? You either work with me and work with a plan, or sod off. So don't be, oh, well, they're saying I ain't fighting nobody. No. This is the plan, and it's a good plan. Matty's only 24. You know, like, he needs at least a year and a half rehabilitation. And then we can talk about titles. Looking forward to the main event. Sam Eggington is aiming for that European welterweight title against Abbas Barrow. 14-1-0, 9 inside the distance. Sam will give it 100%, give up his height, try and deny his opponent room, but it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. I've seen battles on Channel 5. Does he have some situation with the Salons? I'm assuming he does. He's a German fighter. And he looked pretty handy. Channel 5, 10 p.m. this Friday. I'm sure there'll be a YouTube feed before the main portion of the event.
Yo! Spread the word. Top shutters are back in full effect.
But hold your horses. He's 35 years of age. He hasn't fought since November 2022 against Jermaine Franklin, and he didn't look good. It was a disputed decision. Pop dirty for the adverse finding. I couldn't find what the alleged substance was. August 2023, before a big showdown with Anthony Joshua. You know, there's the knockout defeats, the first of which was in 2015 against Anthony Joshua. The second was 2020 when he was knocked out by Povetkin during lockdown. 2022, he was knocked out by Tyson Fury. Then later that year, he had the, let's just say, average performance against Jermaine Franklin. How soon is he talking about a comeback? Next couple of months? Maybe, he's just back in training perhaps. So it could be later down the year. What's he got left in the tank? Well, he's had a long time out of the ring to weigh things up, and this is what he's decided. But, a couple of wins can get him back in the shake-up, and he's seen the money that people are making in Saudi Arabia, and no doubt that must have had influence on his decision to come back. And there's good fights out there. If he can show a little something in the comeback fight, and if Joe Joyce looks decent against Cash Ali, that's a great fight. Dillian versus Joe Joyce would be a great fight. Type of fight that Frank Warren would like to take to Saudi Arabia. Early days, early speculation. Dillian has certain limitations as a boxer, as all do, but it's good to see Dillian back. He's a character, isn't he? Like, apart from the Tyson Fury fight, he makes for entertaining build-ups. So it's good to see him back.
Is a 41-year-old Donaire as dangerous as a 23, 24-year-old Bam? I don't know. I don't think so. I'd like to find out.
Unpopular opinion, and I haven't heard many more people than myself say it, but Nonito Donaire goes down in history as one of the hardest punching lower weight fighters. Anyone fighting Nonito Donaire is susceptible to get knocked out. There's not one boxer who he can't give issues. He broke Inouye's flipping eye socket, but Inoue is a different breed. He fought on like the eye socket wasn't broken. Sonny will have to revert back to the style I didn't like. I like Sonny's style against Bam Rodriguez. I actually enjoyed his performance. It was a losing performance. But you can't trade with Donaire at no stage. As old as Donaire is. It's a good fight though. Was Ryan Garcia drunk at the presser? I heard Devin say he smelt alcohol in his breath, but I thought Devin was just fucking with him. And I know Ryan was acting like a goofball, like the way he went up to B-Hop. You want to squash the beef? Yeah, he did look a bit inebriated, but I thought he was playing up. You see, I'm very naive. I'm like, nah, there's no way he's actually drunk or high. But, there's apparently pictures of him smoking a spliff. I saw the picture. I thought it was photoshopped. That's real? A few people have commented. It looks like he's trying to get out of the fight. The turnaround from the beating he took from Tank 9 months ago might be too soon for him. I don't like that word cash out. But yes, there might be an element where Oscar, Bernard and Robert Diaz are saying, look, let's get him out there while he's still able to and see if he can, maybe turn it around at some stage and let us recoup whatever's been spent on his development.